How to find out that your kitty really loves you. Cats are famously hard to read, and we've all heard the popular idea that our kitties don't actually love us and are just in it for the free room and board. Many cat parents are afraid that they are secretly living a lie, projecting their own feelings onto their cat and imagining that their kitties love them as much as they love them, when really they're just tolerated. Although your kitty can't say they love you in words, they have all kinds of ways to communicate their feelings using body language. From their whiskers to their ears to their tongue, we're going to look at the 25 different ways that your kitty may communicate their love and affection. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our feline loving community for more advice on how to care for your kitty. Sign 1. Have you ever caught your kitty staring at you from across the room and wondered exactly why they seem so focused? We assume that all of you who watch our videos are blessed with good looks and intelligence to match your good taste in YouTube content, but your cat sees you every day. It's not like they don't know what you look like. And then when they finally catch your eye, they pointedly close and open their own eyes as if they're trying to pretend the whole one-sided staring contest was just your imagination. It wasn't though, and your cat isn't trying to hide anything. When a cat stares at you and then slowly blinks, that's their equivalent of blowing you a kiss across the room. You can say, "I love you," back by returning the slow blink. Sign 2. A cat's tail is their most expressive body part. A general rule is, the higher the tail, the happier the cat. Cats raise their tails like flagpoles when they're happy and excited, the same way a human will show their happiness by grinning from ear to ear. When your cat raises their tail after you walk into the room, that's their way of saying that they're happy to see you and want the world to know it. Sign 3. A cat showing their tummy can often come across as a confusing gesture to humans. We tend to interpret an exposed tummy as an invitation to touch the cat's belly and are then caught off guard when our kitties respond with claws and teeth. Why do they always do this? Is it their idea of a practical joke? Nope. It's actually another sign of feline affection. Cats are very protective over their tummies, which are the only thing standing between the world and their delicate internal organs. Showing you their tummy is a cat's way of saying, "I love you enough to be vulnerable around you." This is why they get so annoyed when you respond by violating their boundaries by trying to touch them there. Sign 4. When you hear the word bunting, you might start picturing those rows of little flags that you see hung up on special occasions, but it's also a word for a specific form of feline affection. When a cat bunts your hand, it means that they gently head-butt your hand. Cats show affection by sharing their scent. Bunting your hand allows them to pick up your scent from your skin and mark you with their scent from their fur. Sign 5. You might not think to look too hard at your cat's whiskers when trying to gauge their mood. After all, they're just extra long hairs, right? Not true. Not only are a cat's whiskers super sensitive, which allows them to use them to gain sensory information about the world around them, but they can also move them independently to communicate their emotions, much the same way we humans use our eyebrows. If you're looking for a sign that your kitty is happy to see you, look for whiskers that are pointed forwards towards you. This is a sign that your cat is interested and is focusing all their attention on you. Sign 6. Your cat can't hold hands with you very easily, and you wouldn't really enjoy it if they did. Cats usually grip things by putting them in their mouths or gripping them with their claws. But there is a way that your cat can convey the same sentiment of holding hands. If your cat wraps their tail around your ankles when they walk by your legs, then that's their way of communicating love and a desire for closeness. Such a cute gesture is surely worth the cat hair that it leaves on your jeans. Sign 7. Being licked by a cat is never a purely pleasant feeling. It's not their fault. Your cat uses their tongue to groom their fur and to help them clean the fur and feathers off of their prey. To help with this, their tongue is covered in hundreds of tiny spines called pupillae, which act kind of like the teeth of a comb when your cat is licking their fur. When they're licking your delicate human skin, however, they feel more like sandpaper. Ouch! But before you push your cat away, remember that grooming for cats is as much about social bonding as it is about keeping clean. Your kitty licking your skin should be taken for the honor that it is. They're simply saying that they love you. Sign 8. Another example of how the love of a cat can be a painful thing to receive is kneading. This is sometimes also known as making biscuits, because the intense treading movement your cat makes with their feet looks kind of like your cat is trying to knead dough. They're not working with dough, however, they're working with your body, and often they'll be digging their claws into it. Yow! You might be forgiven for thinking that this is your cat's way of tenderizing you for their next meal, but it's actually a gesture that dates back to their kittenhood. Baby cats need their mother's belly to encourage her milk to flow. Your cat isn't expecting you to start lactating when they do this, but it's a gesture that soothes them and is their way of saying that they think of you as their parent. Sign 9. Cats make all kinds of noises besides the classic meow. You probably know that cats purr when they're happy. Most cat parents, even those who are new to cat ownership, can recognize that low, rumbling hum. But you might not recognize one of the higher-pitched sounds your cat makes, even though it sounds something like purring. A trill is a high-pitched noise your cat makes that is somewhere between a meow and a purr. It sounds something like a rolled R. But what does it mean? It means that your cat is happy to see you. Cats make this noise when greeting the people they love. Sign 10. You might not think much of it when your furry friend comes to visit you on the couch and ends up flopped over and passed out like it's the morning after New Year's Eve. But sleeping near you is actually a huge sign of trust from your kitty. Your cat's wild ancestors would have been prey to larger animals as often as they were predators to smaller ones. Sleeping is one of the times when your kitty is at their most vulnerable. So many cats will feel the instinctive urge to hide themselves when it's time for a snooze. You might have noticed your own cat doing this when they first came to live with you. With time, however, most cats will stop hiding and start sleeping in the open, because they trust you enough to know that you would step in to defend them if anything tried to eat them while they were sleeping. You're their knight in cat hair-covered armor. Sign 11. It's not one of the most pleasant sights you'll ever see. You're minding your own business when your kitty suddenly moons you, shoving their butt in your face and raising their tail so that you can see everything they've got going on back there. Ew. Why? Well, to your cat, this isn't actually an insult. Cats greet each other by sniffing each other's bottoms, much the same way dogs do, as a way of picking up on each other's scents. They can use these scents to learn a ton of information about the other cat, from their emotional state, to their physical health, to whether they're in the market for anyone to mate with. You, with your weak human nose, are unlikely to pick up on anything like that much information from your cat showing you their derriere, but your kitty doesn't know that. From their perspective, this is their way of giving you the opportunity to get to know them better. Sign 12. You're petting your cat under the impression that the two of you are having a lovely time together when suddenly, without warning, they bite you. Why? It may not have hurt, but it still hurt your feelings. What did you do wrong? Probably nothing. When your cat bites you gently in a way that doesn't actually hurt much, then it's called a love bite and is actually a form of feline affection. Cats will sometimes gently bite each other whilst grooming as a way to deal with tough knots of fur. To your cat, petting is just a human's funny way of trying to groom them, and love bites are their way of returning the gesture. Sign 13. Sometimes living with a cat can feel like living with a spy or an old-fashioned private investigator. They insist on following you around the house, watching whatever you're doing, sticking their noses into everything, often literally, and sometimes refusing to let you even use the bathroom on your own. Why is your cat so intent on tailing you? Do they think you're up to something? No, probably not. When a cat follows you around the house, they're actually exhibiting a behavior called mirroring, which is when a cat copies the behavior of other animals, or people, in their social group, in an attempt to bond with them. Think of your cat following you around the house like a toddler following their parent around and helping with the cleaning. Your kitty doesn't know why you do the things you do, but they're keen to hang around and serve as a source of moral support while you do them. Sign 14. When you come home from work after a busy day, it's always nice to receive a warm welcome from your little fuzzball. If your kitty comes scampering up to the door the moment they hear the click of your key in the lock, then that's a sign that they truly care about you. Cats have their own business to attend to and their own ways of entertaining themselves. If your kitty decides to drop everything just because you came home, then that means that seeing you is the most exciting part of their day. Sign 15. When you pet your fur baby, you might notice them pushing their head into your hand or moving their body so that you can pet them in different places. You might think that this is just about them wanting to get the best pets possible, but there's more to it than that. When your cat lets you pet them and takes the trouble to encourage you to pet them more, they're treating you the same way they would another cat who was grooming them. They're letting you know that they see you as a part of their furry little family. Sign 16. You woke up this morning feeling like death warmed up. Your throat is itchy and painful. Your nose is stuffy. You can't stop coughing and sneezing, and all you want to do is lie in bed with a box of tissues, some chicken soup, and Netflix. You can't imagine anyone wanting to come near you when you feel and look this awful, but you know you have at least one friend who'll stick with you no matter what. Cats will often stick especially close to their humans when they're sick. Their incredible sense of smell might even allow them to sense you're under the weather before you're even fully aware of it. From your cat's perspective, your illness makes you vulnerable to attack from predators, so they stick close to you to protect you. Sign 17. Cats can't really kiss each other the way humans do. They just don't have the muscles necessary to move their lips that way. But they do have their own feline equivalent. When two kitties want to show each other some love, you'll sometimes see them gently bumping noses. This allows them to sniff each other's scents. If your kitty does this to you, you should take it as a huge compliment. Sign 18. When you think of a cat's eye, you probably picture it as a yellow or green iris with a vertical slit black pupil, if your mind doesn't immediately jump to eyeliner, that is. But if you watch carefully, you'll see that your cat's pupils aren't always thin. Just like human pupils, cats' eyes constrict in bright light and dilate in dim light so as to let in more or less light as needed. But a dark room isn't the only thing that can make your fur baby's pupils get all big and saucer-wide. They'll also do it when they see something or somebody that they like. If your kitty's eyes get big and black when they look at you, you can trust that you're the apple of their eye. Sign 20. Your cat seems to have forgotten that they're meant to be a four-legged animal, and they're now trying to walk on their hind legs. Is this the start of the new revolution? Will your pussycat be learning how to open cupboard doors and tuna cans next? Is the human race about to become obsolete? Don't worry, this is just your kitty's way of trying to get closer to you. Cats will often start hopping onto their hind legs when their humans come home for the day. That is, if they can't find a high place that allows them to stand at your eye level. This is a way to get your attention, as well as an attempt to give you a proper feline greeting by bunting your head or booping your nose. Sign 21. It's said that there are 3 stages to a cat's yawn. Stage 1, cutely opening their mouth a tiny bit, like something suddenly caught them by surprise. Stage 2, the entire face splits open, revealing a gaping maw full of knives. Stage 3, adorable blep. If your cat yawns while you're petting them, then you might think that it must mean that they're bored with the cuddle session, or that they're getting sleepy and would like a nap. But actually, if your cat yawns whilst you're interacting with them, then it's likely just their way of signaling that they're feeling calm and relaxed in your company and expressing their appreciation for you. Of course, they probably would like a nap as well, but that's basically a constant for cats. Sign 22. A cat's ears are a great way to figure out how they're feeling, and just like with their tail, a good rule of thumb is the higher the happier. If your cat's ears are high up on the top of their head and pointed forwards, that means that they're feeling alert and very interested in whatever's in front of them. If the thing in front of your cat when they do this happens to be you, then you can rest assured that your cat is expressing that you're always on their mind. Sign 23. When you walk into the room, does your cat do a big stretch? It's not just a way of stretching their muscles, and nor is it their way of expressing contempt for your new carpet by digging their claws into it, although that might be an unfortunate side effect. A greeting stretch is a cat's way of expressing how happy they are to see you. Sign 24. Slaloming in and out of your legs is never the safest activity for your cat to partake in, but you'll please to know that they're not actually trying to murder you. Cats have special glands in their cheeks that release a pheromone scent. When they rub against you, that scent rubs off onto your skin and clothes. Humans won't be able to pick up on it, probably for the best, but for other cats, it'll be like you're wearing a sign around your neck, reading, "This human is taken, hands off." Cats have a favorite human. Although a lot of cats find themselves with more than one owner, one person in the household will often become a cat's special person, the one they love above all others. Contrary to popular belief, this preference isn't just based around who fills the food bowls. A cat can actually choose their favorite person based on a variety of factors, and they are not always as straightforward as we expect. In this video, we're going to be looking at why cats become attached to certain people, how they choose which person to become attached to, and how to tell who your own kitty's favorite human is. Hopefully you. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our feline loving community for more tips and tricks on how to care for your kitty? Do cats really love their cat parents? Every cat owner has had someone say it to them at some point. Your cat doesn't really love you, they just want free food and shelter. Not only is this statement cruel, it's also inaccurate. Like all mammals, cats are fully capable of forming social bonds. In fact, since becoming domesticated, they've gotten really good at it. The ancestors of our domestic cats, African wildcats, still exist, but they're not much like your little furball at home. These cats are completely solitary and generally only interact when it's time to mate. If you have more than one kitty at home, then you'll know that while they're often a bit hissy and standoffish when first introduced to each other, pet cats can absolutely become friends and enjoy, or at least tolerate, each other's company. Feral cats, who live in the wilderness and don't have humans to look after them, will often form colonies made up of female cats and their kittens. Cats within a colony will actively seek to help each other out by acting as babysitters for each other's kittens, or by bringing food for colony members who are injured and can't hunt. These cats will frequently form strong social bonds based on matrilineal relationships, the relationships between mothers, daughters, sisters, and aunties. Cats haven't been as intensely bred for human companionship as some other pets, mainly dogs, but their brains are definitely capable of building social bonds. How do cats actually pick their favorites? There are a few different factors at play when it comes to picking feline favorites. Who has the cat known for the longest? Who spends the most time with them? Who feeds them? Who shows them the most physical affection? But it's not just a matter of brown-nosing your way into your cat's heart with bribes of tuna and ear scratches. Cats may also choose their favorite humans based on personality. If a cat is very quiet and shy, for example, then they are likely to prefer the person in the household who is the most introverted. If they are more playful and adventurous, then they might pick an extrovert. How do I tell who my cat's favorite person is? Number 1. Cats are busy creatures who generally have their own things to be getting on with and might not have time to be at a human's beck and call. Famously, it can be very difficult to get a cat's attention if they don't feel like giving it. So, if your cat does give you some of that sweet, sweet attention, then it's a sign that they see you as somebody special. Do they come running to greet you the moment you come home from work? Do they drop whatever they're doing to come cuddle the moment you sit down on the couch? That's a sign that your cat has singled you out as their favorite person. Number 2. You might notice your kitty staring at you intently from across the room. If you look over to see what they're doing and catch their eye, then they might respond by slowly lowering their lids. This deceptively subtle gesture is what's known as a slow blink, also sometimes called a cat kiss or an I love you blink. This is how cats show intense love and affection, essentially the feline equivalent of blowing you a kiss. If your cat does this with you more than anyone else, then you can be sure that you've gained the top spot in their heart. Number 3. Although you probably think of your kitty as a predator, especially if you keep finding dead mice and birds on your carpets, the wild ancestors of our domestic cats were actually prey to larger animals as often as they were predators to smaller ones. This is the real reason behind the famously skittish nature of our feline friends. Your kitty jumps a mile when you shut a door too loudly because thousands of years ago, that loud bang could have been the roar of a hungry lion. Cats instinctively feel that they have to be alert at all times, which means that the most dangerous time, according to them, is when they're sleeping. If your cat chooses to sleep out in the open, rather than following their natural instincts and finding somewhere to hide, then that's a sign that they consider you someone who will protect them from harm. If they choose to regularly sleep in your bed, then you can assume that you are somebody very, very special to them. Number 4. Being licked by a cat doesn't feel good. There, we said it. Their tongues are like sandpaper, covered in thousands of tiny spines called pupillae, which act like a hairbrush against a cat's fur and like an emery board against delicate human skin. An emery board that leaves you faintly damp with saliva. Yuck. But before you push your furry friend away, think about it from their perspective. Cats groom each other to build social bonds and show love and affection. If your cat licks you, then that's their way of trying to let you know that they consider you a valued member of their social group and someone who is very dear to them. Number 5. Cats don't suffer fools gladly, as any unfortunate soul who's tried to give one a bath or make them take a pill can testify. Assuming they survive the experience, that is. If a cat doesn't like something that you're doing, they'll let you know about it, often with claws. But if you're their favorite person, you might be granted privileges that other humans don't get. If you're the only person who can brush your cat or clip their nails or put them in their cat carrier without ending up more scratched up than a skipping CD, that's a sign that your cat is giving you the VIP treatment, because to them you are a very important person. Number 6. Not all the signs of feline favoritism are good. If you recently invited a new person or a new kitty into your life, and you already have a furry friend who considers you their favorite pal, then their distress over having to share you with another might cause them to start acting out. This can take the form of aggression towards the interloper, such as hissing, swiping, or biting, or it can take the form of attempts by the cat to self-soothe, by hiding, becoming overly clingy, or trying to scent mark their territory by peeing everywhere. If this describes your cat, then you shouldn't have to put up with this behavior, but you should take into account the fact that it's likely a manifestation of their fear of losing their favorite human. Number 7. Do you have a suspiciously furry shadow? Cats often try to show their love for their favorite people the same way you might try to show your love for your best friend or partner, by showing an interest in their activities. Your cat might not really get your obsession with the strange box of lights and buttons that you spend all day tapping away at, or understand why you keep waiting until all your clothes have finally taken on your scent, and then putting them in a weird spinny machine that makes them smell of soap. They might be clueless as to why you actually seem to enjoy sitting in the terrifying giant wheel machine that takes people to the vet. Humans are weirdos, but you are your cat's weirdo, so they try to follow you around and participate as best they can in your day-to-day activities. Sure, their participation can often take the form of lying on your laptop keyboard, or getting cat hair all over your clean laundry, or stowing away in the car when you're trying to leave for work. But this is just their way of trying to let you know that you are their favorite human being. What kind of person do cats really love? Many people assume it's the one who feeds them. After all, isn't that what we're always told? Pop culture would have us believe our cats only stick around for the free meals, without much real affection in return. But here's the truth. Food isn't the only thing that makes a cat love you. If you've ever worried your cat only sees you as a walking food dispenser, this video will set your mind at ease. We're diving into the traits that truly make cats fall for their humans, and how you can become irresistible to your feline friend. And before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe and join our community of fellow cat lovers for more tips on keeping your kitty happy. Not just food. First of all, let's debunk this food myth once and for all. Your kitty absolutely values you for more than just your ability to feed them. The kinds of people who argue otherwise will often claim that cat lovers are overly sentimental, and may even accuse us of anthropomorphizing our pets and projecting feelings onto them that aren't really there. But in fact, they're the ones who are being unscientific. In a 2017 study, shelter cats were given a choice between 4 kinds of stimuli: some delicious food, some fun toys, an interesting scent, and a friendly human. 50% of the cats went straight for the human, even when it wasn't a human that they knew personally. Less than half went for the food. This study proved beyond a doubt that cats are capable of caring about more than just their next meal, but chances are you've seen evidence of this in your own home. No matter how excited your kitty gets when it's time for dinner, they probably don't get more excited than they do when playing or cuddling with you. What do cats like? We're now going to look at the 5 traits that will most impact whether a cat enjoys a person's company. Number 1. Voice. If you've ever dropped something and seen your cat practically jump up to the ceiling and then run off to the other end of the house, you'll know that cats are not fans of loud noises. This isn't too surprising. Cats have very sensitive hearing, almost 6 times more sensitive than a human's. And so a noise that is loud to us can be deafening to them. As a result, cats prefer people with quieter voices who don't tend to shout or talk too loudly. Being calm is also important. Cats are very sensitive to the emotions of the humans around them, and they can tell when we're getting excited. Excited humans to a cat are slightly unnerving, not least because our voices tend to get louder when our emotions go up. They know that you would never hurt them on purpose, but the fact remains that you are over 6 times their size. An excited human is a human who might be less cautious with their movements and could end up accidentally stepping on their kitty's tail. Surprisingly, they also prefer higher-pitched voices. A cat's hearing is adapted to hear much higher-pitched sounds than a human. A human's hearing range only goes up to 20,000 Hz, whereas a cat's goes all the way up to 64,000 Hz. By comparison, however, the lowest sounds a cat can hear are 45 Hz, while we humans can pick up sounds as low as 20 Hz. This discrepancy is primarily due to the kinds of prey that cats tend to go for. Mice and small birds make high-pitched squeaking or chirping noises, so those are the pitches that cats evolved to hear. Because high-pitched noises are easier for cats to pick up, high-pitched voices sound clearer to them. As a result, cats will often prefer women over men, and respond best when talked to in baby talk. Those of you who are looking for an excuse to keep on calling your cat a fuzzy-wuzzy whittle baby without shame, you're welcome. Number 2. Movement. How you move to a cat is arguably more important than how you sound. A lot of kitty communication happens via body language rather than vocalization, and as we mentioned before, they can be very sensitive towards their personal human's body language and what it says about their emotional state. Cats prefer slow, calm movements for the same reasons that you'd probably prefer an elephant stick to slow, calm movements if they were interacting with you. Not only are we gigantic, but from a cat's perspective, we can't see that well. We're shamefully bad at seeing in the dark, to the chagrin of many a poor cat who's been tripped over during their human's nighttime trip to the bathroom. And our heads are so far off the ground that we sometimes risk stepping on them even in daylight. For the same reason, cats often prefer that we crouch down when interacting with them. This makes us much less intimidating. Remember that a cat's go-to way to respond to threats is to fluff up their coat and arch their back to make themselves look bigger. Us making ourselves look smaller, therefore, can be taken as kind of the opposite of that, a sign that we want to be friends. Number 3. Touch. You might assume that cats would prefer to hang out with whichever person gives them the most pets, but that's not necessarily the case. The thing that cats prioritize the most when it comes to being touched is actually whether the human touching them respects their personal boundaries. Cats are very keen on making sure that their sense of autonomy is respected. They generally won't appreciate being randomly pet unless they know the human very well, and will otherwise prefer to hang out with people who give them a chance to sniff their hands first, to make sure that they're on the level. Once you've been given the go-ahead, the next thing to remember is where to pet. Try to stick to the top of the head and the neck when petting an unfamiliar cat. Once they get to know you better, you can move on to the base of the tail. A lot of cats really love being pet on this part of their body, but because it's a sensitive area of their body, they can be touchy when it comes to strangers touching them there. Finally, if you're someone who is more used to interacting with dogs, be careful about how much pressure you apply. People who spend a lot of time with dogs tend to be used to petting harder than cats will appreciate. A cat has a more delicate skeleton than a dog, and so they're less able to stand up to that kind of treatment. If you're in doubt, err on the gentler side. Number 4. Smell. Ultimately, the sense that cats depend on the most when navigating the world around them is their sense of smell. A cat's sense of smell is 14 times more sensitive than yours, and so they tend to be very uncomfortable with strong smells, like those of citrus fruits, or harsh ones, like the chemical smells of cleaning products. If you smell anything like that, then cats are less likely to get along with you. But there are some smells that cats do enjoy. You might be expecting us to say food smells here, but actually, science has discovered that a lot of flower and plant smells can be very good for attracting cats. Flowers like lavender and roses work well, as does mint, which is a member of the catnip family and so often a cat's favorite. Number 5. Attitude. If you've ever had friends over to meet your cat, you'll have noticed the feline tendency to shun all the humans in the room who are desperate to spoil them with snacks and snuggles, and instead make a beeline for the one person in the room who doesn't want a cat to come anywhere near them. Whether it's due to allergies, fancy clothes, or a feline phobia, cats are keen to get as close as possible. Why? Simple. It's an issue with body language. Remember that we said that most feline communication happens through body language? In cat body language, the way that you show somebody that you like them and want to be friends is to sit at a slight distance from them, pretend to be as uninterested as possible in their activities, and only let them know your interest by occasionally glancing across at them, with no eye contact, and then quickly looking away again. This, coincidentally, is the exact same way that humans communicate that they don't want somebody to come near them. From a cat's perspective, when they hang around this person, they're giving them exactly what they want. You share a special bond with your cat, but did you know something as innocent as a kiss could actually be putting that bond at risk? While we think we're showing affection, some gestures might confuse or even stress our cats out without us realizing it. But don't worry, these mistakes are more common than you think, and after watching this video, you'll unlock the secret to understanding your cat's love language and making your bond even stronger. We'll reveal 8 ways cat parents might accidentally confuse their kitties, and what you can do to make sure your fur baby feels safe, loved, and adored. If you're ready to be part of a community of cat parents who truly get their cats, hit subscribe and let's dive in. Mistake number 1. Pucker up pussycat. One of the most popular ways for us humans to express deep affection is through kissing, and it can be natural to try and use this gesture to express affection to your cat. But while cats do groom each other as a way of showing affection, pressing your lips against their furry forehead isn't likely to mean anything to them. They don't even have the lip muscles to imitate the gesture, so it certainly isn't one that comes naturally to them. At best, your kiss is likely to leave your kitty a bit confused. At worst, because of how big your head is compared to a cat's head, your fur baby might find it kind of intimidating to have it brought so close to their little face. What should I do instead? You might already have experienced this gesture from the other side. Called a cat kiss or an I love you blink, the feline equivalent of blowing a kiss across the room doesn't involve their mouth at all, but their eyes. A cat who wants to express deep trust and affection will lock eyes with their target and slowly close and open their eyes. If you spot your kitty doing this gesture, it's a good idea to meet their gaze yourself and slow blink back to show that you love them too. You don't have to wait for them to make the first move, however. There's nothing stopping you from slow blinking at your cat just for the sake of it, and you can be sure that they'll appreciate the gesture. Mistake number 2. The tummy dreaded trap is one that many an innocent cat parent has unexpectedly stumbled into. You walk into a room and your cat rolls over, showing off their fluffy tummy. It looks so soft and inviting that you can't resist leaning down and giving it a few pets. The moment your hand makes contact with that floof, however, instead of the sort surface you were expecting, your fingers are suddenly met with sharp claws and teeth. Despite seeming to ask for tummy pets just seconds before, your kitty has apparently changed their mind and decided that they'd rather have a go at eating your hand instead. What's going on? Are they deliberately tricking you? One thing's for sure, you won't be petting them on their tummy again anytime soon. What should I do instead? Well, your cat will actually consider a lack of future tummy pets a sign of a job well done. For many cats, tummy rubs aren't a fun experience. The skin on your cat's belly is very sensitive. It's where they keep their delicate vital organs after all, so they're really not keen on having it touched. For sown kitties, the skin can be so sensitive on that part of their body that they might actually find being touched there physically painful. That's certainly not the result you were going for. No wonder they reacted badly. So why do they insist on showing you their tummy if they don't want it touched? Well, because they're trying to give you a show of trust. Rolling over onto their back is a feline way of greeting people that they like a lot. Kind of their way of saying, I love you enough that I'm okay with showing you the most vulnerable part of my body. The most appropriate way to respond to this, therefore, is to say thank you and offer to pet them somewhere else, like their head or back, while respectfully keeping your fingers off that belly fluff, no matter how soft and cute it might look. Mistake number 3. What does a cat love more than chasing a laser pointer? It's amazing how much fun both you and your fur baby can derive from just that one little red dot, them from trying to catch it, and you from watching them run around after it. But once you get bored and turn the laser off, what does your cat do then? Their chase is at an end, but they haven't caught anything. Long term, this can leave them frustrated. Their instinct to chase is being satisfied by the laser pointer, but not their instinct to catch. From their perspective, they're having unsuccessful hunt after unsuccessful hunt. What should I be doing instead? Fortunately, this is a relatively easy problem to solve. All you have to do is provide your cat with something to catch. It doesn't have to be a red dot either. Simply using the pointer to lead your kitty towards another, more tactile toy like a felt mouse or a ball can be enough to turn a failed and frustrating hunt into a successful one in their mind. And it's not like it affects your enjoyment. Watching your kitty chasing after the laser may be fun, but so is watching them pretend to wrestle a toy mouse to death. It's the best of both worlds. Mistake number 4. Who wants a hug? Sometimes you might feel like there's nothing you want more than a nice cuddle with your cat. Just like kissing, hugging is another way that humans like to show affection for each other. Wrapping your arms around your cat and squeezing them releases happy chemicals in your brain, particularly oxytocin, which is nicknamed the love hormone because of the role it plays in helping mammals like us build social bonds. But does it do the same for our kitties? Not necessarily. Cats don't really hug. They don't have arms. It's not a natural gesture for them, and instead of making them feel safe and comforted, it might instead make them feel trapped and confined. Plus, you're a lot bigger than your fur baby, and what feels to you like a gentle squeeze can feel a lot more uncomfortable for them. What should I be doing instead? Well, just because our fur babies don't like being hugged like humans do, doesn't mean that they don't like being touched even so. They just don't want to feel like they're being too confined. Instead, when it comes time to show your cat affection, try just petting them instead. Petting your cat gives you the same burst of oxytocin that hugging them would, but this form of touch means that they also get an oxytocin boost, and it means that both of you experience a strengthening of your bond. Mistake number 5. But be careful about when you pet your cat. Have you ever had the experience of going to pet your cat only to have them duck away at the last minute? Or seen them snoozing on the couch and found yourself unable to resist the urge to pet them while they're looking so calm and cute, only for them to react all annoyed? Well, your cat finds being touched unexpectedly annoying for the same reason that you would, especially when you try petting them while they're trying to nap and end up waking them up. Cats are very nervous about where and when they sleep, because in the wild, their ancient ancestors would have had to be constantly on the lookout for hungry predators. And while they were sleeping, they would have been especially vulnerable to attack. Your own modern fur baby shouldn't have to worry about being attacked while they're snoozing. But old instincts die hard, and being woken up unexpectedly, even by their beloved human friend giving them some nice pets, is less likely to be relaxing for them and more likely to give them a bit of a nasty shock. What should you do instead? Before you pet a cat, you should always try to ask permission first. Not with words, of course, as your kitty is unlikely to be able to understand you. However, you can ask using body language. Simply reach out your hand and hover it over the top of the cat's head. If they are a strange cat who doesn't know you very well, they might try having a sniff at this point. Cats are very scent-oriented creatures, and sniffing your hand lets the cat have a whiff of your pheromones, which will tell them important information about your physical and emotional state. This will help them decide whether or not to trust you. If you know them already, then they probably won't bother with this step because they'll already know that you can be trusted. If they want to be pet, then they'll then raise their head up to butt it against your hand, letting you know that they want you to touch them. Otherwise, they'll duck away, letting you know that they're not in the mood to be petted right now, and you should try again later. Mistake number 6. Your cat is your adorable little baby. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Who doesn't love holding their fur baby close to them and cradling them in their arms like the little cutie pie that they are? But this isn't so enjoyable for your cat. Like we mentioned earlier, cats don't like having their tummies touched or unexpectedly exposed, and they don't like being held in such a way that they can't escape. So, being held in your arms in such a way that they can't escape, and their tummy is fully on view, is basically their worst nightmare. It's uncomfortable for them. If they know you well enough, and love and trust you, then they'll likely get to the stage where they can tolerate being held that way, but it'll never be as fun for them as it is for you. What should I be doing instead? Cats don't enjoy being held that much, but sometimes it's necessary to carry them places, or else you just really want to have a cuddle. In that situation, the proper way to pick your cat up is to scoop your hand under their chest and lift them into the air. Put your other hand under their bottom to support them, and then hold them in a sort of sitting up position. so that their head is peeping over your shoulder and their torso is pressed up against your chest. This ensures that they're able to look around easily, and if they feel like escaping, they can easily wriggle out of your arms and jump to the ground. Mistake number 7. Ever talked to your cat only to find that they seem strangely unwilling to listen to you? You might think that your cat is just a bit bored with your conversation, sparkling as it might be, but it's likely less to do with the content of what you were saying and more to do with your volume. Humans are often a lot louder than cats are. Our ears are less sensitive, and as a result, we're often less conscious of how loud we're being. Your fur baby, on the other hand, is much more sensitive to loud sounds, especially since, as we mentioned earlier, they evolved in an environment where they were frequently hunted by vicious predators and had to be constantly on their guard. When you're talking to your cat and you get too excited, your voice might raise automatically and hurt your poor fur baby's ears. What should I do instead? Just because your cat doesn't like it when your voice is raised doesn't mean that they don't like your voice. A 2022 study revealed that cats are fully capable of distinguishing their human friends' voices from the voices of strangers and respond to them with significantly more attention. They also prefer certain tones more than others. Cats like high-pitched voices because their ears find high-pitched sounds easier to hear. They like quiet tones because, as we mentioned, their ears are more sensitive than ours. As a result, their favorite tone of voice to be spoken to in is, adorably enough, baby talk. That's right. Studies have shown that cats love to be spoken to in baby talk, but they only like to be spoken to this way by their special humans. Your fur baby might not like to be held like they're your baby, but they certainly don't mind if you talk to them like it. Mistake number 8. Taking a hold of your cat's tail can be hard to resist. It's just so fluffy and sweet. You'd never pull your kitty's tail, of course, but it's just so tempting to try petting that fluff. But it's not nearly as much fun for your fur baby. See, the thing is, getting their tail pulled, for a cat, is much more dangerous than you might think. Not only is it painful, but it risks causing them significant neurological damage. Your cat's tail is attached to a tangle of nerves at the end of their spine called the caudal equina, from the Latin four horses' tail, on account of the fact that the tangle of strands looks a bit like a horse's tail. These nerves help control a lot of the muscles in the back half of their body, meaning that victims of tail pull injuries can often suffer from incontinence and issues with mobility in their back legs, which can potentially last for a lifetime. As a result, even if your fur baby knows that you'd never even dream of pulling their tail, just being touched on such a vulnerable part of their body, like with their belly, can cause them significant discomfort. What should I do instead? Petting a cat's tail might be out of the question, but if you know the cat quite well, you may want to try petting them somewhere close to it. Petting your cat at the base of their tail, in the small of their back, often provokes a pretty dramatic reaction. They've got a lot of nerve endings there, so if you don't have their trust, then they might find it a bit much. But if they do know you well enough, then you'll find that most cats adore being pet there and will likely arch their back into your hand to encourage you to pet them more. Is your cat content? Do you have a kitty who knows that they're sitting pretty? Does your fur baby look like they're the cat who got the cream, or even the canary? How do you tell whether your cat really is as happy as you want them to be? You can't just look at their face to tell how they're feeling. Your cat probably doesn't smile to show that they're feeling happy, unless they're a Cheshire cat. But that doesn't mean that you can't find out exactly how your feline is feeling and make sure that they're feline just fine. All you need to do is learn some of the secrets of cat body language, and wouldn't you know, that's exactly what this video is about. From blinking to bunting to showing their bellies, in this video we're going to be giving you the lowdown on your cat's secret language. But before we dive in, why not subscribe and join our feline loving community for more tips and tricks on how to understand your cat. Number 1. Blink and you'll miss it. Ever notice your cat staring at you from across the room and then slowly blinking, like they're feeling especially sleepy or bored? That might be enough to get you slightly concerned about their emotional state. You know that cats like to sleep, but are you really so boring that they're practically passing out just from looking at you? No, of course not. What your cat is doing there is called a slow blink, also known as a cat kiss, or an I love you blink. It's how your fur baby shows that they love and trust you. Essentially, it's the feline equivalent of blowing somebody a kiss from across the room. If you want to let them know that you love them back, try meeting their gaze and slowly blinking back at them. Number 2. Heads? No, tails. When you're trying to interpret your cat's emotions, you might have a go at looking at their furry little face. It's the natural place to look after all. Humans tend to show our emotions using our faces, and we have 10,000 distinct expressions to do it. When it comes to your cat, however, you're actually way more likely to find out how they feel by looking at the other end. The most emotionally communicative part of your cat's body is their tail. Specifically, you can recognize when a cat is feeling happy because their tail will be higher. The higher the tail, the happier the cat is a good mnemonic to help you remember. A cat who is feeling pretty content and fine with life will have their tail slightly raised. A cat who is incredibly happy, especially to see their favorite human, will have their tail raised high in their air like a flagpole. Number 3. Ifs, ands, and buts. Have you ever had your cat try and headbutt you? Some cats will run up to their humans and try to butt against their hands, while others, who are a bit more energetic, will clamber up to a high place where their head is level with their human's face, so that they can butt their forehead against yours. What's up with this? Is this still your cat? Or have you accidentally let a baby goat in the house by mistake? Are they attacking you? No! It's another way that cats show that they love you and are happy to see you. Cats headbutt each other, gently, as a way of sharing their scents with each other. This is the way that they signal to each other that they are part of the same social group. Just like how a visual-oriented creature, like a human, might try showing that they are especially close with somebody by using a friendship bracelet or by matching their clothes, a scent-oriented creature like a cat is more likely to use their smell to show how happy they to let all their furry friends know that they're best friends with you. Number 4. The cat's meow. A cat is a prey animal as much as a predatory one. Although you're probably more familiar with your cat's status as a vicious hunter, even if their prey tends to mostly take the form of stray bugs, toy mice, and the odd shoe. In the wild, your fur baby's ancient ancestors would have had to worry about larger mammals, birds of prey, or even snakes. Under those circumstances, it makes sense why our kitties evolved to be so skittish and easily afraid. If your cat is happy and content, however, then they can shed those instincts. And the easiest way to tell that your cat isn't scared of being eaten is to simply listen to what they're saying. Or rather, to how they're saying it. Cats who are scared all the time will be quiet and try to hide, understandably enough. Cats who are not scared because they're happy and confident in themselves, and their relationship with their human will often be very loud and vocal. If your cat is very chatty and likes to have a lot of conversations with you, then you can assume that they enjoy your company and are happy in your home. Number 5. In their dreams. If you've ever spent some time feeling ill or fed up with things, then you probably associate sleeping a lot with bad times. If a human stays in bed all day, then we assume that they must be feeling depressed and need to try and get out more. But that isn't the case for our cats. Cats can naturally and healthily sleep up to 18 hours a day, over twice the recommended human amount. And so it's no wonder that you'll frequently happen upon them napping in spots of sunlight, or have them join you in your bed at night, or come to snooze on your lap when you're sitting on the couch. But your cat's calm slumbers aren't just a sign that they're feeling sleepy. They're also a sign that they're feeling relaxed and happy in their environment. A cat who is scared or even just not very confident in their surroundings will typically try to sleep somewhere hidden so that they can feel safe from attack. A cat who chooses to sleep out in the open, especially near a large apex predator like a human, is showing that they trust you not only to not eat them yourself while they're snoozing, how flattering, but also to protect them from anything else that might try and have a go while they're out for the count. Number 6. Hello Kitty. One of the best things about pet ownership is always having somebody at home who's happy to see you when you walk in the door. But that's not something that any pet owner should take for granted. Some cats don't greet their cat parents, not even necessarily because they don't love them, just because they're not interested enough in their homecoming to bother breaking away from whatever important cat business they have going on. If your cat still comes running to the door whenever they hear you come in, therefore, then that's not just a sign that they're generally happy to see you. It's a sign that they consider your presence in the home to be something that makes their whole day better. Who cares about catching some Z's or chasing their tail? The human is home, and that's the most important thing in the world. Number 7. Belly up Buttercup. Why does your cat roll over and show you their tummy? It's not for the reason that you might think. Most humans who see a cat show off that fluffy tummy assume that they must be asking for pets. But if you give in and try to touch that tum, you'll quickly discover that your kitty's claws have decreed the area above their belly to be a no-fly zone for human hands. So what's it all about then? Easy. Your cat shows you their tummy, not because they want you to touch it, but as a sign that they trust you not to touch them. Your cat's belly is a very vulnerable part of their body, because it's where they keep their fragile, vital organs. The skin of a cat's tummy can be so sensitive that some cats even find it physically painful to be touched there. A cat who flops over to show you their tummy is letting you know that they trust you to see them at their most vulnerable and not attack them. As a result, if you see your cat sleeping a lot in this position or chilling out with their belly out with no obvious signs of fear, then that can be a sign that they feel completely comfortable and safe in your home. Creating this kind of environment can take a lot of work for a cat parent to achieve, but it's fully worth it. To help learn how to keep your kitty happy, try checking out this video to learn how you can boost your fur baby's mood by rubbing their cheeks.